Alright, gang, what the heck is pooping? We are back with another episode of UGL Week 2, the Pokemon Go Ahead and Draft. And this video is sponsored by delicious, delectable dihydrogen monoxide. Listen, man, if you're not taking part in my sponsorship right here, if you're not drinking water today, you're not allowed to watch this video. If you haven't drank any water today, you're not allowed to watch this video. Just click off. I don't even care about the views, man. Like, just click off the video, go drink some water, and then come back to this video. And let me make sure this John is on loop. Okay, so that is on loop. What do we have here today? Oh, I am so unprofessional. I definitely did not do this. Wait. Okay, I do remember the team names. Just so you know, this is my team, just to remind you, we're the Baltimore Blissies. It is a very bulky squad, and looking at this, it will provide some insight. How about I turn on this light too? There wasn't very much light on me, and sometimes when there's not enough light on me, OBS kind of like lags because it's confused or something. I don't know. So now there's more light on me, I'm less laggy. It's a very bulky squad. There's a lot of weaknesses to it, honestly, but it's fun. And it's a mixed kind of bag of skill levels in this league. But my opponent this week is a pretty good player, Detective Butters. And we can see Detective Butters. All right, no, actually, this was not the right team. This is Detective Butters' team. There we go. Bam. Detective Butters. Detective Butters. She is a really good battler. I think she's won a couple other leagues before, but this is my first time ever playing her. I haven't actually seen her play, but I've heard about her, and she's also very nice, very friendly person. I enjoy talking to her and stuff. So it's one of those people that's like great to be in a league with. So shout out to Detective Butters. This is her team. It is also a very bulky squad, and also has a couple of big threats that you just never want to face. So like it's sneaking down at the bottom, but last pick Terrakion, that is one that also, it's the first thing I said. It is something that is always very frustrating to play against, because it is just very strong and does, big hit, bang, pow, bada boom, pow. Yeah. So Terrakion's always frustrating. Moltres Galar can be very powerful with a nasty plot set. Dragonite, Dragon Dance is obviously very dangerous. She has Vikavolt webs, and the thing about webs on her team is that it almost feels necessary, because if you go ahead and look at the speed stats, we have the speed stats right here, this column right here, column M, that is the speed stats. You can see her team is wildly slow. Like, the only thing that is over base 100 speed is Terrakion. So everything that's well over Terrakion speed, I can just drop down to Terrakion speed. And anything that is below Terrakion speed, like the next speed stat below that, is 90. So like we have this jump from 108 to 90, and then from 90 to 80, and then below that it's just such a slow team that's something that we can definitely take advantage of in building. So just thoughts on building real quick. I liked Jolteon, but my biggest issue with Jolteon is that I don't have like a hail setter, so Sandaconda is kind of a walls it, because this is Galardex draft, so I don't have like hidden power ice or anything. The other thing was Serena as well, so if I could have had the ice coverage for those two. Oh, and Dragonite, but it's more like Serena and Sandaconda. But if I could get around that, then Jolteon would be a good bring. Terrakion, I obviously have to try to find some answers to, and Volcanion's actually very annoying, because there are a couple things on my team that just passively let Volcanion in super free, so I definitely want to handle that well, because like it forces Melmetal out, it forces Moltres out, and Moltres can barely touch it. You'd have to hit Hurricanes and stuff. Umbreon's not doing much to it. Aromatisse doesn't do much. Like Volcanion just does so well against my team that I have to play in a way that doesn't allow it in for free, and stops it from doing what it needs to do. Anyway, without further ado, let's go over this team real quick. Hopefully this only takes like a couple minutes, and then we can just jump straight into the match. I wanted my team to handle Terrakion pretty well. So I brought Choppel Melmetal because Choppel Melmetal always needs to hit, even if it's like banded Terrakion close combat does like 50 max to Choppel Melmetal with this set, I think, which is just delectable, delicious. So if it's SD, it'll do a little bit more than that, maybe like 70 or something. Or if it's like Life Orb SD, I think it can do like up to 99 with this specific set. But yeah, Toxic to not allow like Volcanion and whatnot in for free. Oh, another thing about her team, real quick, is that it's very ground weak. So as you can tell, she's got like Moltres, Galar, and Vikavolt, and Dragonite. But like those are all rock weak, and then everything else is like lots of ground weak things on here. Only other ground resist is Serena. So what I'm noticing is that like double Iron Bash plus Earthquake hits like everything super well. Maybe not Vikavolt, but Rock Slide hits that. Then we have Starmie. Starmie is a very bulky and fast Starmie because we needed something to one revenge kill Terrakion, possibly switch in on a close combat, but this EV spread is actually specifically to beat Volcanion and also to spin webs, because webs were going to be a problem for me. Actually, let me look at this team. Oh, yes, specifically for Como. The only thing that really needed that removal was Como, and actually Melmetal as well, because like Slowking Galar and stuff, you can see I speed crept like Slowking Galar and like and Registeel and stuff, like no speed investment Registeel with my Melmetal. And if I had webs down, then that speed investment is then worthless, and it would have been better in bulk. So I was like, okay, got to take advantage of that by spinning those webs. But this is like my only good switch into Volcanion. And I wanted to run like Toxic, but I was like, a sub Volcanion can really just destroy my squad. So what I have to do here is run T-Bolt so that I can break Volcanion subs. I don't even know if I calced that. I was just pretty sure that Thunderbolt would break its subs. But yeah, that's the point of that set. This Aromatisse, I tried like a couple of different things in here. It was useful for all the physical attackers on the team. It lets Thunderbolt I added because again, Volcanion just can come out on Aromatisse and get up a free sub and chill. So I actually changed it from Heal Bell to Thunderbolt so that it was a little bit less passive against Volcanion. But it was necessary as a measure to Terrakion and a DD Dragonite, just a good insurance measure. So I didn't necessarily want Aromatisse on the squad, but I felt like I kind of needed it as a insurance policy. George Washington. Oh, also the names. Sokka Sword. You know why? Because Avatar is Sokka makes the sword out of meteorite, and Starmie is meteor, and Sokka is also part of the water tribe. So, love that name. Witch Doctor for obvious reason. George Washington because he's got the wig. Earthquake Stone Edge. This is it's a pretty bulky. Actually, it's not that bulky, but it's a good switch into Vikavolt, and also very ground weak team. So. Also my way to get the rocks because I ran a DD Como, which really threatens the squad. If Como could get up like 2 DDs, it was basically game over. I don't know why I named it Armor Man. I must have been doing something else at the time because that's a bad nickname. So sorry, Como. And they got Overcoat just so it wouldn't take extra chip if Sandaconda came. And then Phoenix Wright. Dual status Moltres. Oh, you can't even see it. Ooh. Dual status Moltres. Toxic because I like this set just gets dunked on by Volcanion again. But this is what I needed to come in on like Serena and Registeel because I actually don't switch into those super well, surprisingly enough. So I can't remember what was on my team before in this slot, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take the more I think consistent approach and have a countermeasure in case she brings like Serena Registeel kind of stuff. So anyway, on to the game. Let me make sure that this game is in frame, but I'm not a rapper. Okay, that is good enough with me. Yes, so I'm on the other side. Let me click play and switch sides just so we can go ahead and see this. Again, I've never played her before, so I don't really know what kind of player she is, but I was like, if she is a lead Vikavolt and get up webs kind of turn one, I want to lead my Landorus. I want to get up my Stealth Rock, and Landorus is threatening out like most of the things on her team. If she leads Terrakion, I can just trade most of my health for a Terrakion, and that's fine with me. A lot of things. I also have U-turn on it, so I could just U-turn out if I needed to. But really what I wanted was Rocks against this team, because Rocks looks super, super good against this team. So I led Landorus. She leads Volcanion. I'm a little bit sketched out because I've never played her before. I'm like, I don't know if she's like one of these tricky tech kind of players. Like she's leading, like she's really afraid of my Landorus because she knows she's ground weak. So she's trying to lure it. And like some weaker players might just Earthquake turn one because they're like, oh, you know, free Volcanion. If she was Shuka and traded Shuka for my Landorus, or if she was Scarf, that could have been bad. So I decided to make a scouting safe play because like otherwise she's probably gonna switch out. But if she Shuka or Scarf, she might stay in. So I make the safe play and go Starmie. And she also goes out into Vikavolt, which I was like, okay, that makes me think not Scarf, not Shuka. That makes a lot of sense. Could still be Specs, could be Subtoxic or something. So I go back into George Washington because this is my best answer to Vikavolt. I could also go Como, but it's a little bit early for that. So George Washington is definitely my best answer here, so I can get up my rocks. She tries to Volt Switch, which is really fortunate for me because that gives me free rocks. And she probably realizes that she doesn't switch into Landorus at all. So she decides to trade her Vikavolt for my Landorus, and my Landorus decides to be a complete Chad of a George Washington and hit 2 Stone Edges in a row. So shout out to George Washington. Thank you, Mr. Forefather. And then we see the Terrakion come out here. Big play, actually. Big pivotal moment coming right here. We see no leftovers. So what I'm thinking is probably either Choice Band or SD. I don't think it's a Stealth Rock Terrakion because she has a Registeel, and I can't imagine that she wouldn't be Stealth Rock Registeel. It could be Double Rocks, but I'm thinking probably more likely Band. And the Band play that you would go for right now, or if she's Life Orb as well, I could learn from this, gain information on the set. I feel like the obvious play is to Stone Edge because Stone Edge kills this Landorus. I don't believe a close combat would. Probably my best switch-in is Aromatisse, but if it's banned Stone Edge, then Aromatisse does not really switch into that super well. So that would only be if I like predicted a close combat. And I am Chopple Melmetal. So I'm like, okay, if she is Life Orb and she SDs, or if she Stone Edges and I go Melmetal, then I am in a super good position here. And if she close combats, I don't think she should close combat. If she close combated, then she was just like another league ahead of me and was just like reading my thought process all over the place and was, let me just move that up a little bit. Yeah, she would have just been reading. I would have been, if she close combated, I would have been like, kudos to you. That was like a really good play. But also very risky. And because if she close combated into Aromatisse, she wouldn't get much here. So I go Melmetal. And she actually misses Stone Edge in a way that's like, it's not good or bad, in my opinion. Yes, she could have gotten Stone Edge chip on Melmetal, but that's a resisted hit into Melmetal, and he's got huge defense. And it also helps hide her set, because I don't know what her set is still because of it. But then again, she also doesn't know what my set is. She doesn't see my item because of that. But I looked at that Stone and I say, hey, that looks like Choice Band damage right there, because if it was Life Orb, it would have hit. No, just kidding. Yeah, so basically, not a whole lot of information was revealed there. But now she switches out, and like usually a Terrakion would, or sorry, not a Terrakion, a Melmetal would be able to live that anyway. So I earthquaked because everything. Look, 4 out of the 6 things on our team are earthquake weak. The other 2 are immune, but one of them's dead, and she's not going to Dragonite because if she goes to Dragonite, then I can just double Iron Bash her. So I earthquake into Registeel, not quite a 2-hit KO. So I am forced out because I don't want to get my Chople eaten on a body press or something. So I go to my Moltres because my Moltres is easy switch in to Registeel every time, basically. So I thought about earthquaking twice, but I think that would have been way too greedy, and if she didn't Rocks, I would have been in not a very good position against Terrakion. So I bring in Moltres here. I go for a Toxic, trying to predict the Volcanion. Slowking comes out, so I decide to just trade a Wisp on it to get this passive damage, because I see that it is not, what's it called? It's not Leftovers or Black Sludge, so I will take that passive damage with Will-O-Wisp, and that will help later in the game just force it out, or like force recovers or something, because I don't know what her set is yet. All I've seen is Psychic. So she goes Volcanion. Big play coming up right here. Time to think about the game state. This is something that's really important for newer draft players, newer Pokemon players in general, and trying to think about what's important on your team. Think about what's important on the opponent's team. Think about the game state. And some people are overly aggressive and will make these crazy sacks for no reason. Some people are not aggressive enough where they will not make these risks or take these chances when really they are super necessary to keep yourself in the game. And it's just, you have to learn when it's a good idea to trade and when it's not. So my Moltres is semi-useful against this Slowking Galar, but it could be an Assault Vest Slowking Galar, which means I don't do anything to it anymore because I already burned it, and Flamethrower would barely do anything. Moltres switches into Registeel well, but Registeel is now at 51, and then it will come in a Nut Rocks. It doesn't have Leftovers, and most things on my team will be able to kill it. Like, Starmie is going to do fine against it. Lando's going to Earthquake it. Aromatisse, not as much, but the point is I'm not scared of Registeel, and my Moltres is not doing much, and I have Toxic on this Moltres, and I see that this is, well, I'm about to see that this is a Leftovers Volcanion, which means I do outspeed it, and it's not, I see that it's not heavy duty boots right now because it took rocks damage as well. And when I play this, you'll see that it's Leftovers. When I saw this, I'm like, okay, this is what I thought before. This is probably like some sort of sub-toxic Volcanion, or just sub-Volcanion in general. My Moltres is not valuable. If I just go straight Starmie here, I'm kind of on the back foot a little bit. So I'm willing to trade, like even if she Steam Eruptions here, I'm willing to trade my Moltres, which is not very valuable, for a Toxic on this Volcanion, which switches into so many things on my team and puts so much pressure on my team. I'm willing to trade this Toxic for whatever she wants to do. And what we actually see is that she goes for a substitute here, which is incredible for me because I get to keep my Moltres. But honestly, like, I don't even need my Moltres. Like, my Moltres isn't really doing much. So now that this is Toxic, Starmie can beat this easily. Like, I can just recover spam on this. Because you can see Sludge Wave plus Burn is doing 46, and I can recover 50 a turn. So that puts me in like a really good position, because now my Starmie just completely walls up. So now we see Slowking come out here. I predict just a Sludge Wave on my Starmie, so I end up going Melmetal, and I know that I'm going to be faster than this because I speed crept it, and she's not running like max speed Timid or something. So I get Melmetal out here and threaten with an Earthquake because, again, Earthquake is super good against her squad. So she ends up sacking Volcanion because she doesn't want to go Dragonite and then get double Iron Bashed right after. And then we have the Tracheon situation come out here. And this is exactly what I brought the Choppleberry. I don't have to predict. Prediction is out of my mind. I'm like, this is easy. I just stay out in front of this. We see its Choice Band damage, but I also kill that right away. This is a little bit of a not super great play, but I also kind of stand by it now that I'm thinking about it more as well. Again, when I said before, I have my Moltres. I can switch into Registeel basically every time. But if I go into Moltres and then Dragonite comes out here, or I kill this Registeel and Dragonite comes out after that, and it's some sort of DD Dragonite, and then I like maybe I miss Will-O-Wisp or something, or it's DD and DD Lumberry maybe. Like there are multiple sets, so I decide I'm not gonna risk differential, or I'm not gonna risk the entire game on differential or something, because Dragonite can still be scary. So I'm just gonna Earthquake this. I'm not gonna kill it. I'm gonna take Body Press and I'm gonna lose my Melmetal over it. So I'm gonna lose differential over it, but I'm not gonna make that risk. So then we see it's Flamethrower, and when I saw it was Flamethrower, I was like, okay, this is pretty safe. So I can go into my Como. I'm not even gonna risk Dragon Dancing in case she kills me with like a Draco or something. So I just go straight for Scale Shot. She lives on 8 because I got like 4 hits or whatever. But most important thing was just that I break multi-scale so that Aromatisse could come out and kill her in a second. But she was so low that I didn't even have to risk Misk again. I could just go close combat. Again, I'm not going to risk differential here. I'm not going to switch out to Lando or something. I'm just going to click Earthquake. And what we see is that she was actually a Shoka Berry. So it was really good that I popped that Shoka Berry with my Como so that my Landorus could come out and Earthquake to win the game. So I think this was an informative game. I think there were some really good lessons to be learned for when to like trade, when you're willing to trade, and not making stupid plays for the sake of saving differential and stuff. There's probably other things that you can learn from this game. But I think it was a solid game from Butters as well. I think it was just kind of unfortunate that I had like the Earthquake presence to really, like, the Landorus just put so much pressure on her team that it was difficult, and I kind of caught her with like a Choppleberry and stuff, and you can't really see that, you know. You gotta play around it. So I think I just won in prep with a lot of it. And like, yeah, if I missed Toxic or something with Moltres on Volcanion, it could have gone very different and stuff. So it was a very good game. She's a very good player. She won first week as well, so I expect to probably play her in playoffs later or something as well. So fun game. Thank you, Butters, for the game, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out, Girl Scouts, gang, squad, boys, gamer girls.